we have an excellent connection. Okay, we're going live. Let's see. Oh, no, it says there's an error. Oh, there we go. I see it. First time. I think there's. Oh, no, it says there's an error. All right, so there seems to be just a little bit of a delay, but not too bad. Okay, so this is the pre Game of Thrones Season 8 watch party, broadcasting live from Lafayette, Louisiana. And I'm Linus Wilson, a big fan of Game of Thrones. I have a pretty obscure channel here, so I can get away with random content, unlike my other channel, which is very specialized. So on my other channel, we did a couple videos about sailing in the Game of Thrones. It's the Slow Boat Sailing channel. I'm a big fan of Game of Thrones. I've read all the books, watched all of the shows, and I am excited about this season 8, which was too long in coming. So what I did do on my other channel, the Slow Boat Sailing channel, was I held a poll on my community tab of who they thought would be the winner of the Game of Thrones. So who would sit on the Iron Throne at the end of season 8 after the 6th episode? And that was a really mixed poll. It did not have a really decisive result. So let me bring up the exact results. I think I've got kind of a slow connection on my phone. So the number one person nominated by that poll was Daenerys Targaryen. So she was number one. And then there was not a really strong number two. People receiving other votes were Cersei and Jon Snow, but not really anybody that got all the support. So it was pretty mixed. Just bringing it up now. So 26% said it was Daenerys Targaryen, 11% thought it was Cersei, 5% thought it was the Night King, so total doom for the land of the living, and then a whopping 37% said other or no one. So that is not great in terms of who they thought was actually going to do it. So I see not super many in the chat right now. The other source of who will win the Game of Thrones were the odds makers. Right, so the sports bookies in, I assume, England. There's this place called Oddshark. Maybe they're in Las Vegas. The best odds were for Bran Stark. Now, that was a real surprise for me that Bran was even in the running for that. I don't know if that's people think he's going to be the Night King. I don't know if that's inside information from the cast and crew leaking out into the odds there, because I'd never heard anybody say that until I saw those odds. Put Daenerys Targaryen at 4th place Jon Snow in second place with plus 350 odds, and Sansa Stark at plus 500 odds. Gendry was fifth after, actually tied with Dany at plus 700 odds, and Peter Baelish, who is dead, was tied with the Night King with plus 1,000 odds, and Tyrion Lannister. And then Jon and Daenerys' child was tied at 1,600 plus 1,600 odds, and Samwell Tarly was down the list at the top 12 at 2,000 odds, and Cersei, didn't even make the top 12. Cersei got plus 2,500 odds, and Jaime plus 4,000 odds, and that it's just more speculative choices after that. So the Slowboat Sailing YouTube channel voters thought Dany was the most likely person to win it, but the Vegas odds makers think Bran Stark was as of yesterday. So, I think Jon Snow is really in the pole position. He's probably got the best claim to the throne. Everybody thinks that Cersei Lannister, even though she holds the throne now, is going to be unseated. And I think everybody else, then there's just a lot of disagreement. Sansa could get it. Daenerys could get it. Gendry could get it. Peter Baelish, I don't know where that's coming from. I think he's dead. I think Peter Baelish is dead. That was something I found from season 7. That's Littlefinger. He was killed by Arya Stark towards the end of season 7. So I don't see how he's got a chance, but he's got as good a chance as the Night King, and better chance than Jon and Daenerys' child, which we have no confirmation of so far. We know that they could have made a child, but we don't know that they have. So we don't even have any word of a pregnancy. So those are the kind of predictions for who will win the throne. The other predictions are, who is going to win, who's gonna survive and who's gonna die, right? And I'm just not sure about that. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna die? That's a good question. So let's look at the list again. I would say, just of people that are going to die early, you got to think that's going to be people in the north, right? So the the leaks seem to indicate that the Battle of Winterfell is going to happen in episode 2. Seems about right. So I think it's Miguel. I won't butcher his name, but the guy that's done all the really big battle scenes, such as the Battle of the Bastards and Hardhome, is doing, I think, episode 2, and that should be the Battle of Winterfell. That's also supposed to be kind of like a feature-length episode, and so the feature-length episode, or almost like 82 minutes, that's where we think that they're going to have the Battle of Winterfell. Now, the teasers have definitely been saying, they seem to indicate that everybody dies in that. You see Longclaw in the snow and all kinds of other things related to all the main characters supposedly being dead. But I don't believe that. I think that's a tease. I think they're just playing with us. I don't trust their I don't trust their teaser. That's just a little too literal, a little too obvious. That's kind of more the worst case scenario. But there will be a Battle of Winterfell. It's generally believed that there's going to be some bad stuff in the crypts. That's certainly indicated from the trailers and the teasers, that they're running around in the crypts of Winterfell, and some bad stuff's happening down there. Is Ned Stark going to come alive as a White? So that's the type of thing that uh, we're thinking of. Okay, so who's going to die early? Let's see. If I were going to think about who is going to die early, it's going to be somebody in Winterfell. And there's a lot of chatter about Tyrion betrayal. I don't know. He was making those weird faces at the end of season 7 when Dany and Jon were getting together, or Dany and Aegon Targaryen were getting together. There's the question: is he a loyal Lannister? That's certainly something that Dany is asked. Uh, of the big characters, I don't think the big ones are going to go early. I think that probably they're going to get rid of Jaime early, would be my guess. But he could stay all the way to the end to kill Cersei. There's some question of whether it could be Arya with Jaime's face killing Cersei, or it could be uh, Tyrion killing Cersei because of the Valonqar prophecy. But it says like the younger brother is the Valonqar, but then supposedly the translation is so vague that it could be any younger sibling, not necessarily Cersei's younger sibling. So, I don't think that you necessarily have that armor. I think Gendry's probably going to make it out. I would guess Sansa makes it out. I would guess that Arya makes it out. Maybe people like Davos, maybe Jaime. It's possible Samwell doesn't make it, although we always think that he's going to write the history of this. So that kind of keeps him safe. He's also typically not at the front lines. Jon, is he going to be eliminated early or late? I think he's going to make it to episode 2, would be my guess. The Gendry, if he's just working on the blacksmithing, he might make it all the way or might not. He's also an outside shot for the Iron Throne as the best claim for the Baratheon side of the throne. There's even talk that Gendry may not be a bastard, but he may be the trueborn child of Cersei and Robert of Baratheon, the former king of the Iron Throne in season 1, whose death started all this madness. So, it's not obvious who is going to go out early. Now, late, I would say Cersei, Jaime, probably going to die. Varys is probably going to die. That might happen early. Bronn is probably going to die. Euron Greyjoy, I would say, is going to die. I would even go on a limb to say that Jon's not going to make it. He seems like a tragic figure to me. And then, beyond that, I'm not quite sure. Then you kind of get to the more minor characters. So, let's see, get out the character list. Yeah, I think Yara's gonna die. Tormund's probably gonna die. And so I'm expecting since so what they did was the season 8 opener is that uh, they had episode 1 was shown to the crew, and right after that there was a lot of talk that Tyrion was in big trouble. So I think one of the things I would expect is that there's going to be some controversy. Is Tyrion loyal or what? Is he loyal to the Iron Throne? And so that's what I would think is the what I'd be looking for is that does Tyrion survive episode 1, right? And if he does, then there's a good chance he'll stay. So I mean, I think they've been doing they did a lot of head fakes in season 7, and nobody died pretty much except for Peter Baelish. I think they need to clear the field in season 7, season 8. That's my hope that they're gonna be as ruthless with the beloved characters as they were in seasons 1 through 4 and even through 6, that they'll be just as ruthless in season 8 as they were in season 1, and unpredictable. And I thought they were very predictable in season 7. I mean, beyond the whole plot leaks that they had, but they really no major characters died. I mean, I think maybe Thoros of Myr was the most beloved character, who's a very minor character, really, in Game of Thrones. I guess the other one we're looking for is the Red Witch to be eliminated. That she said she was going to die in Westeros, and she probably will, and maybe that's one of the ways that keep it from allowing Jon to be resurrected once again is that Melisandre will be out and won't be able to resurrect him. I guess the other big plot line for this season is what is Bran's role, right? I'm kind of spooked by the whole thing that Las Vegas thinks that Bran is going to sit the Iron Throne at the end of the season, right? So we know from the Sorcerer's Tower back in season 1, I think, that Daenerys has the vision of the Iron Throne room, being open air with snow in it, and you know, so that kind of indicates to you that Dany's going to get there to see it like that, and probably she rides the dragon to burn off the roof would be the most likely scenario. Uh, but how would Bran sit the Iron Throne? Is he going to warg into somebody? Is he going to become the Night King? Uh, so that's Bran's role in this whole thing is a little strange. I don't know if he's moving along the history of the story and being that's his role, or if he's got kind of a more sinister magical role, or a more important role in terms of the defeat of the Night King. Probably does. That he's not just a Samwell character uncovering the mysteries of history with his green sight, that he's going to probably have a major role here. It's just not clear to me that he's good or bad. He kind of seems to be lacking in the human touch. I don't know if that's his portrayal, but even the Blood Raven kind of came across as having a little more humanity than Bran does, and the Blood Raven was, attached to the tree. The three-eyed raven was attached to the tree for like 300 years or something. So, you know, Bran's could be the Night King. He's kind of creepy. He's kind of a creepy guy, and even his sister kind of remarks on, I don't know what you're talking about. You're kind of odd. And the other is like, so I think I'll stop there. It was good live chat. So here's the big predictions, right? So the Bran is the number one prediction for the Las Vegas odds makers to win the Iron Throne. Danny is number 4. John is number 2. And Sansa is number 3. Gendry is tied for 4. And then after that, they've got some long shots that some of them don't make any sense, including Peter Baelish, Night King, and Tyrion Lannister. Jon and Daenerys' child is behind Peter Baelish, who's dead. Arya is right after Jon and Dany's child. So I know, Game of Thrones has been showing the little graphic where they put Arya on the Iron Throne, and so I guess she's in the running, at least in their graphic. So we've got how many more hours to go? We got 4 more hours to wait until we find episode 1. All right, and then the slow boat sailing. YouTube subscribers voted, and they voted that Dany's was the most likely person, but she only had like 25% of the vote. Almost 40% of the vote was other or no one. And I think that's a good vote, that there's, maybe the odds makers are saying, given that there's somebody on the Iron Throne, who will it be? But there may be a very big chance there will be no Iron Throne. The wheel will be broken. That the 7 kingdoms will not be united, and the whole concept of the Iron Throne is out of date, and it just won't survive. I guess the other thing is, will the dragons survive? I think most people would say the dragons will not survive the battle with the Night King in this season, but maybe they will. I like the dragons, but they are kind of weapons of mass destruction, so I can also see why you might say it's a good thing for humanity if the dragons don't survive. So, I think that the rise of the dragons kind of has coincided with the rise of the Night King and the others, and so I think a lot of the thinking is that the magical dragons go hand in hand with the others, and to eliminate both is the way to save humanity. All right. Let's see if I can sign off here. Okay, goodbye. Let me know in the chat who you think's going to win the battle for the Iron Throne, and let me know your top 5 picks to die by the end of the season. Okay? Talk to you later. Bye.